come into my door when I come back.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, love you, B.
How's it going, ladies and gentlemen, and Apple sheep everywhere? How are people doing today? Twitter's been fun so far. Been doing a lot of dumb memes. Got my light on me. Hopefully that looks a little nicer. Hopefully quality looks a little better than average. That's all we're going for. But what's up, Josh, Shrek, Larson, M8, Cubing, Pinecone, Mini Warrior, Jacob, Ian, Neil, One Viper, Hanky Noodle, Darvin, Victor, Justin, CSGO Unlimited, Kyle, Master Raziel, Bleach Guy. How's everyone doing? What's up? We didn't do a late night stream the other night, so I figured, let's do it now. It's Sunday. Probably a lot of people on the weekend, so there are probably more people free. Hope people are doing well. Hope people are enjoying themselves. I'm enjoying, and just for the record, we'll set everything straight for the people watching the stupid meme I posted on Twitter. The Red 8 is fine. We did not break it. Okay, it's perfectly fine. Anyway, how are you? I'm doing pretty good. I've had a good day so far. So for those curious on recent updates, we sold the space gray iPhone 8 Plus. So that means we get to keep this. The product red is staying. The limited edition gets to stay here. We don't have to return it because we luckily were able to sell the 8 Plus. So hooray. Anyway, we got super chats already from Ethan, who says, here we go. I've been waiting for this. Yeah, here we go. Unkind Hornat says, love your vids and only Apple sheep in my school. That's interesting, given there were some studies lately saying that, 4 out of 5 teenagers have an iPhone, which is interesting. 2,000 subscribers with no videos challenge says, oh, yes. And he super chatted. Thank you very much. Ben's A Tech donated 99 cents. Appreciate it very much. That was fast. What's your favorite Apple Watch apps? I've really not had that many third-party apps that I use a lot personally on my Apple Watch. For the most part, I just use the stock ones, and that's the best part of it is just messages, activity, all that stuff. It's great. I like it a lot too. Would you sell your iMac Pro for a Mac Pro? Not the current one, that's for sure. But no, I don't think I'm really gonna like the new Mac Pro, the one that's coming out next year. I think that's gonna be more of someone who likes to customize their stuff and decide what kind of monitor they want. And I think I'm more of a guy who prefers the all-in-one design, who prefers just getting one device that can do everything between speakers, monitor, processor. And I'm not going to get a camera fancier than my Blackmagic for a long time, and it can handle my Blackmagic no problem. So I don't think I'm going to need a new professional editing class computer, even if they release a new iMac Pro with a faster CPU or thinner bezels. Those will be cool. And I could see myself getting the new standalone monitor, which is rumored to come out alongside the new Mac Pros. Apple's going to go back into the standalone monitor market. If they do that, I could see myself maybe getting one, but probably not a Mac Pro. All right, anyway, Mike said, liked your more honest and in-depth review of the S9. Thank you. And Jude also super chatted. Thank you very much. Yeah, the S9, I thought every YouTuber was just kind of praising endlessly because of it just has the most features. It's on paper, it's a very great phone, and I think that's what Samsung's good at, is making phones packed to the brim full of features. But I do think you can get to a point where, primarily with software, but even a little bit with hardware, you can go too over the top. Like 3 different ways to unlock your phone between face unlock, iris scanning, and the fingerprint sensor, and all of which aren't really perfected. They all have certain advantages and disadvantages, but they all have their own individual issues too, which I don't really care for. But same with the Bixby button, really not really needing to be there, and then 2 browsers, 2 calculator apps, 2 digital assistant. It's just too much. So yeah, I let them have it. Dylan, thank you for super chatting as well. Dylan is currently the highest super chatter now of the stream, so congrats to Dylan. Press F to pay respects. Ethan says, look up Cosintec. Supposedly it helps with psoriasis. Believe me, I've heard of it. I've tried many different at-home remedies in DIY remedies that are cheaper than just buying the really, really expensive medicine. But after years and years of trial and error, we found out that the really expensive medicine is the only thing to help with psoriasis, which sucks because it's like $100 a bottle, and each bottle is about that big. So yeah, it's basically just a very, very expensive cure. One Viper says, "What's up, Drew? Love you when you go live on weekends." Yeah, I think more people prefer that. I should probably stick to that rather than Thursday night. Everyone's trying to sleep because they got an essay due on Friday. So that's likely why they don't do that. For new subs who are asking what my favorite Android phone is, I have to go the budget route because personally, I'm just based on my experience with expensive Android phones between the Pixel and the Galaxy line. I've just noticed that I can't I can no longer accept that is a decent experience anymore. The more I try Galaxy phones or the more I try a Pixel phone that's expensive, the consistent fans know my answer to that, which is either the essential phone being number one or maybe OnePlus. The more budget friendly Androids, because that's the only feature I can understand someone not wanting to go with iOS, because now I'm thinking that iPhones, if you can afford them, they have the best hardware and the best software. I can't pick one, or I can't just say that I understand why someone would go Android and spend $800+ on it. I don't see the point of it anymore. Just based on my personal experience. So I can't recommend it anymore. Not that I really was recommending it very much, but now it's like, if I were to go Android, I would go Essential or OnePlus because they're cheaper, and that's hard. That's a big factor for a lot of people buying phones, is they need to make sure that they get a deal on what they're buying, and that's a pretty good counter argument to people who don't want to pay for iPhones. Is I can't convince you that you have enough money for an iPhone. If you don't have enough money, you don't have it. I can't change that. It's not something I can really argue. Yeah, One Viper super chatted. Zach says, "When will AirPower come out?" You know, Zach, I'm asking myself that a lot, and maybe some people don't know this. I recently was talking to someone on Twitter, and I don't think they understand what AirPower is. So let's be very, very clear about something. AirPower has not been made before. This type of inductive charging has not been done. The idea of AirPower that's different from what this person was using as an example was the IKEA charge mats, which, by the way, super low reviews. People hate them. So IKEA makes these kind of expensive charge mats that have like 3 different Qi plates on them. This means that if the product works the way it's supposed to, which a lot of people say it doesn't, you'll be able to put 3 different phones on one charger. Now, I don't think that's a very common scenario personally. I don't think that's very useful because not that very many people have 3 phones. And on top of that, not very many people have 3 wireless charging phones. So the point of a 3 Qi enabled charge plate, that's kind of pointless unless you have parties all the time or you want everyone to put their phones down but also be charging. It's just such a rare occurrence that would be useful. However, what's different about AirPower is that it can charge several iPhones at the same time, we think, but it's not really about charging multiple phones at the same time. The purpose of AirPower is to be charging all your accessories at once. So now with AirPower, if that does become available soon, hopefully soon, you'd be able to charge your headphones, your smartwatch, and your phone all with a single pad. Keep in mind, this would take up 1 outlet on the wall, something that used to take up 3. You used to get the surge protector or get a USB extension, and you'd have to plug in watch charger, phone charger, and headphones charger. You have all 3 cables. Or if you're going on trips, you have to make sure, do I have a lightning cable for this? Do I have a lightning cable for this? Do I have a lightning cable for this? And a watch charger, which is different from lightning. So with AirPower, they're hoping to get rid of that problem so that you could charge watch, headphones, and phone all simultaneously. Only takes 1 outlet. That would be personally really, really cool to see. FCC hasn't passed it yet, which, by the way, is something that needs to happen before you can start selling a product. The FCC has to verify it and say that it's okay to sell, and they haven't gotten one yet. So that means that the AirPower release is not very soon. It means it's not going to come out tomorrow, or if they did issue an announcement about it, it would be that it's about the pre-orders are going to start or something, like the HomePod. Like the HomePod didn't just go on sale; they launched the release date. So that's the closest possible thing that could happen at any time. But still, Why would Apple reveal stuff that hasn't been approved? Well, lots of stuff hasn't been approved when they first reveal it. The HomePod's a good example. I think personally, it's because Apple's having less events year to year. It means that they're trying to kind of stuff all of their announcements into 2 keynotes a year. And sometimes when you only do 2 keynotes a year, which are very packed, by the way, they're not pointless keynotes anymore. Before 2017, there used to be a lot of keynotes that really nothing happened with. But in 2017, the 2 keynotes they had were big. They had lots of stuff to talk about. And I personally really like it when they do that. So they announce things that they think might be ready by this winter, but usually they run into problems. And then they go, well, no, actually, we have to iron out these things. And then it becomes indefinite. That's the story with AirPower right now, is they're not exactly sure when it'll be ready. But yeah, they kind of have to assume that these keynotes are going to carry out products and stuff you can buy for almost a year after that event happens. Anyway, Kaylee937 super chatted. Thank you very much. Zach super chatted as well. Says wireless charging AirPods haven't come out yet too. There wouldn't really be a point to wireless charging AirPods without AirPower. I think that technology they've probably figured out, because they said that the Series 3 will support AirPower, and they're selling that. So we know they know how to make their own version of inductive charging on a smaller scale. Like, this doesn't work with any Qi charger because it's a lot smaller. So I think the AirPods part of it is probably not that difficult, but it wouldn't have a purpose because they don't have the wireless charging plate that supports this Apple certified version of inductive charging yet. David says, what do you think will change with iPad Pro at WWDC? Thank you, David. Personally, with the iPad Pro, I think Face ID, I think the home button's going away. I think that means the abandonment of Touch ID. We're going all gesture control on the iPad Pro. I'm hoping that because it has Face ID, it means no more white bezels, just black bezels on the front, which will look really, really good. And what I mean by Face ID is, like, if they had white bezels and Face ID, it would have like 4 dots at the top of the iPad, which I just think would look ugly. So I'm hoping that this kills white bezels this year. That's the new trend. Personally, in the wild card that we really don't know about, I'm really hoping the new iPad Pros have glass backs, and then when AirPower comes out, they'll be able to charge that way. I think that would be really, really cool to start bringing inductive charging on a larger scale than it's at right now, because right now it's basically just phones and that's it. And Apple's breaking into the wireless charging watches and AirPods game. So if they could bring that to tablets, that would be really, really neat. I'm excited for that. But that's a wild card. There's no leaks or evidence to support that. I've never seen a leak that says the next iPads might have wireless charging. That's just something I really, really want to happen. Maybe the tech's not ready yet, so it's not likely, but I hope it happens. Obviously, we're also going to get the A11X chip, which is going to be even faster than our current iPhone 10s and iPhone 8s, which are still the market leaders. And that's likely to be a hexa-core processor. So 6 cores in an A-series chip, which will be insane. Anyway, we got more super chats. Epic GameBot says, hi, your videos are awesome. Do you think the iPhone SE or 6S is still a good buy? And do you think that Apple Watch or AirPods are a better buy? I mean, they're entirely two different things. Those are accessories versus iPhones themselves. I think the SE is particularly good at being cheap. That's about it. That's the main appeal to the SE, I think, is its $350 starting price. That's really low for an iPhone, and a brand new one at that. That still has 4K, that still has live photos, that still has, it's not a good display, but it has Touch ID and stuff like that. It's like the ideal Apple budget phone is the SE. And then the 6S, I would say, is if you want an iPhone, but you're not ready to ditch the headphone jack. That's probably the main appeal of the 6S, because Apple still does sell those, and they still make them to this day. They haven't been discontinued yet. So yeah, both of those have an appeal to being budget. And then yeah, Apple Watch or AirPods, those are totally separate. Accessories are completely different than standalone products. Mr. Chicken super chatted, says, should I get the Beats Solo 3 now or wait till September? That's an interesting question. I don't really know if the headphones themselves are going to change very much between now and September. Maybe I'll get the W2 chip or something. I don't know, but I'd say if you want Beats Solo 3 and you can afford to go for it now, I don't think there's much to gain from waiting. Casey donated, says, I'm looking to get a MacBook for college. I want to get a MacBook Pro. Would you suggest waiting for the refresh or get the 2017 Touch Bar or not? Okay. For college, I mean, if what you're doing is a lot of essay writing and presentation making, I think that the cheaper MacBook you can find, the better. You'd really be just fine with that. But yeah, I don't know if you're a college student. I assume money might be a little bit tight. Touch Bar maybe not be that useful for you. If you're planning on doing video editing on this MacBook, I could get that. I could understand why you'd want to go with the Touch Bar, because the Touch Bar models have 2 fans on the inside. If you go with the non-Touch Bar model, there's only 1 fan on the inside, which means that turbo boosting your CPU is a little harder. But yeah, if you're, I think it depends on the purpose of your MacBook. So I'd say if you're just talking about essay writing, browsing the web, just turning in documents and stuff like that, go ahead with the non-Touch Bar one. And yeah, that's true. I'd either recommend you wait for the new ones to come out, or you go used and refurbished, because Apple still sells refurbished MacBooks at a pretty good price. And if it's Apple certified refurbished, it's super it's like it's brand new. There's usually nothing on it, marks, scuffs, anything. But that also reminds me, I'm actually planning on selling my 15-inch MacBook Pro, because I sadly just don't use it anymore. The type of footage this thing makes, I just can't edit on that computer anyway. So it's not like I could edit on the go if I want to. So if anyone is interested in my 2016, it's a bit dated, but it was the baseline 15-inch 2016 MacBook Pro. If you're interested in that, please contact me via Twitter, just at Tailosive Tech on Twitter, to just ask and just tell me you're interested in the MacBook, and then I can discuss sending it to you if you are interested, because I know there's people out there for college reasons want to get budget stuff. So I'd be selling mine at $1,500. I paid $2,000 for it. I'd be selling it for $1,500. And I'm open to negotiation. So yeah, contact me on Twitter if you're interested. Anyway, iHunter says, love your videos. Please check out my tech videos on iHunter. I was one of your viewers. Thank you, iHunter. Appreciate it. I'll open your channel in a different tab. Thank you. Okay, Zach says, the 2018 iPad Pro, will it have Face ID and 3D Touch? I love 3D Touch on my iPhones and Apple Watches, but I don't know what Apple hasn't implemented it to their iPads. It's like a right click on iOS. It's great. I agree. I wish they could add 3D Touch to the iPad. I think it has something to do with the size. That's the only thing I can assume, is that maybe 3D Touch technology is easier on something about the size of a phone, but when you start stretching it to a display this big, maybe just 3D Touch is impossible. What has been done via jailbreak, I don't understand why Apple doesn't do this, because this could be done via software update. The Apple Pencil is a pressure-sensitive touch interface, as in the harder you press, the more the ink shows up. But why can't they let the Apple Pencil create 3D Touch interaction on the home screen? So if you press the Apple Pencil harder on an app, then the 3D Touch options will open, or the live photo will play. Why can't they add that? They could do that right now. They could have done that years ago when the iPad Pro with the Apple Pencil launched, and they still don't do that. So yeah, I don't know why they haven't yet. Aiden says, hi, Drew, predictions for WWDC, my first super chat. Okay. Thank you, by the way, Aiden. Thank you very much. So predictions overall would be, some people were asking what my number is, which is 1,500. Yes, that's correct. First of all, we're getting refreshes of everything. So iOS 12, watchOS 5, rumored to possibly have third-party watch faces, which is something people have wanted since forever. New version of macOS, new version of tvOS. macOS and tvOS are likely to not be major updates, just kind of minor ones. And then on top of that, new iPad Pros. Possibly the wild card is the iPhone SE 2. Some people still think that might be happening, but they're not sure. There are a couple of leaks to confirm that, but people still aren't sure. So I think that's it. Oh, you know what else is possible? What else is possible is they might very, very, very prematurely reveal the 2019 Mac Pro. Because if you consider the facts that the iMac Pro was unveiled in June, it wasn't available basically until the last week of December. It's possible that they might unveil the 2019 Mac Pro and just say, coming next year. This will be available later next year, just so that the professionals know what's coming out and they buy accordingly. Another possibility is there's rumors growing due to the lower HomePod sales. There's rumors growing that there might be a cheaper version of the HomePod launching, like a $150 version, given that HomePod sales are not too hot, which I don't think is surprising because, first of all, not a lot of people are in the market for super expensive but super good sounding speaker. A lot of people just don't have a need for that, especially in the realm of how good Apple products usually sell. I know a lot of Apple fans, a lot of my friends that are huge Apple fans that are just like, I live at home with my family. I can't play that thing ever. Like, it would be too loud. People would not like it. I have to use headphones all the time. Or I'm in college. I can't buy a HomePod. So not having good or hot HomePod sales doesn't surprise me. It's not a product in high demand. It's cool, but I still think a lot of people who think it's cool probably aren't that interested in purchasing one themselves. So maybe a cheaper HomePod could be unveiled in June. But that's about it. Hopefully AirPower release. I'm still really, really hoping for that. I feel like we've been asking for dark mode for like 30 years now. So I'm never going to say this could be the dark mode update because I'm guessing Apple just thinks Smart Invert is dark mode and you don't need your own dark mode. That's more official. But yeah. Anyway, Omega says, do you think Apple will keep camera on the top of iPad or move it to the side? Seems like they really want you to use it in landscape, but Face ID wouldn't work. No, good point. So for those of you who don't know, Face ID typically has to be up and down. As in, Face ID will not work if your phone's upside down or sideways. But the iPhone 10's not. It doesn't support landscape mode anyway. So it makes sense that the 10's not really built for landscape. But the iPad Pro is really meant to be used in any orientation. So I think via software they'll be able to enable Face ID to work from the sides because all that's happening with Face ID is a giant circle of infrared lights being projected on your face. It's not like a portrait mode square that's being projected. It's like a whole circle. All you need is a infrared camera, like any security camera that has night vision. If you look at what the iPhone 10 does under an IR sensor, it's just a big circle of dots. So that means that via software, I think Face ID should be able to work in any orientation. It's just for some reason they don't let it work on the 10 in any orientation. I don't know why. Maybe they thought people would try to unlock it when you're asleep or something. I don't know what that helps with. But with the iPad, I think they definitely could rearrange the way Face ID works so that it could work in either or orientation. So I don't think that would stop it. I think they'll keep the cameras where they are in portrait mode, as in it will be at the top. I don't think they put it on landscape mode. I feel like Samsung did that before and it didn't go over well. Maybe they'll put one sensor in each corner. That would be kind of trippy. I don't know. That would be interesting. Maybe they will change it. I can't never know. Zach super chatted his wish list for iOS 12. Basically, my predictions. I want an iPad Pro with a glass back, black bezels, supports AirPower wireless charging. I want AirPower to come out. I want an SE2. That sounds really exciting. To finally update that budget line. It starts at like $450 or something, but it has like a A11 chip in it. It has wireless charging. It has maybe they go with the bezel-less design on the SE. I don't know. That'd be too expensive, but still. Anyway, next super chat was from Alex Thomas, who said nothing, but I appreciate it. Thank you very much. After Alex, we have, hey, my good friend Paul. He says, do you think the iPhone 11 will ship with gold? I do. Interview I did with Paul is going to be up on his channel at the end of the month. So if you guys want to see an interview Paul did with me, go check out his channel. But yeah, the iPhone 11, I think that's what they're saving blush gold for. We thought blush gold was going to come out with the 10. FCC even confirmed that for us. But yeah, my guess is now that they're too late into the cycle, they're just going to wait it out and then make the blush gold the new exclusive color. Just like for the iPhone 5, there was only black and silver, but for the 5S, there was gold. And then for the 6, there was only gold, silver, and black. But then for the 6S, they added rose gold. So every year, there's a refinement upgrade, as in the design doesn't change very much. That's when they add the new color option, just so it's more exclusive and you can tell that it's that newer phone. So yes, I agree. Probably coming out alongside the 11. Next, second, all right, David's tied with Matthew now for highest super chatter. Says, do you think tvOS will incorporate multi-user interface anytime soon? That's a good question. They are definitely experimenting now with multi-user interfaces with the 2018 iPad when it's in education mode, how any student can log into their own account. But for tvOS, I'm not sure. I guess they may look at that as more of a family device and not something that is for different people. But maybe that could be the new big thing with iOS 12 is multi-user support, because personally, I think iOS is running out of ideas, as in every year I'm like, what could they add? And then they add a bunch of things people have been wanting for a long time, but always seemed like Apple was just too ignorant to not add it. Like, no, we don't need a screen recorder. And then they added it in iOS 11. And I was like, oh my God, this is great. I love it. Did you guys know Android doesn't even have a built-in screen recorder? You have to download one, and they're not good. I've used them. But iOS has a built-in native screen recorder, and it works very well. So yeah, it's possible that iOS 12 and the new tvOS and all that could bring in multi-user support, which, by the way, on the Mac works really, really well. My editor comes here once in a while, and when we would switch back and forth, because like he likes his mouse to scroll a different way than mine, so we go back and forth. He has a version on this iMac for him, and then I have one for me with different settings and different apps. It's really, really fast. You can just hit your name and switch users. So Apple's really, really good at multi-user support. I could definitely see it being a possibility that they add that to iOS and tvOS alike. But thank you for your donation, by the way. Thank you, Matthew. Zach says, Drew, take your trash out. Here's $2 to do it. Tonight is trash night. That's why all those are piling up there. We're putting them next to each other. But yes, thank you. Can you check your Twitter DM after the stream? Thanks again for the opportunity. I will. Thank you, Jackson. Yeah, we had a little editing competition, but I think for now we're gonna stick with Nathan. But I appreciate the people who edited. Alex Thomas says, "Is there a wireless charger you would recommend?" Absolutely. So a lot of people keep asking for this. Which wireless charger should I get? There's a lot of good ones out there, like the Samsung one is pretty good, and it works with iPhones. But personally, this one was sent to me, by the way. I don't get paid, but they sent it to me for free. Up here, it's called a Baseus. Let's see if you can. It's spelled Baseus. It's a 2-coil charger, which means that your phone can charge in landscape or portrait mode. It can work flat, or you use this little metal plate that comes with it. You slide it in right here, and then it'll prop up on your desk. So this is almost always on my desk because I like to have my phone charging but looking at me. And then when I need to go, I just pick it up. And the best part is it's USB-C. So it supports the best and last port, Team USB-C. Charges really, really well. I don't think it's a fast charger, but if you look that up on Amazon, it's like $20. So even though it's not, yes, Baseus, even though you don't get the fast charging enabled, which I think the Samsung one can do those things, but with fast charging, it's like $40 or $50, whereas this is $20. So I don't like. It's hard for me to justify $50 on a charger, but I figure I'm editing on my desk. It's a lot easier to just leave the phone there, and whenever I'm not using my phone or I'm just looking at something, it is charging all the time. So I know you know this, but consider we get another 1,000 new subscribers every couple days. There's a lot of people that don't know what I recommend or what I prefer. So that's why I'm sorry to the long-term fans, but many things are likely to be repeated on here. And that's going to be a problem we're all going to have to live with. You have to hear it. I have to say it. Imagine how annoying that is. But I don't blame the new viewers. You guys, I don't expect you to subscribe to my channel and then immediately watch every single live stream and video I've ever made. That doesn't make any sense. Kyle says, speaking of wireless chargers, I've had 5 now and 3 of them have stopped working. Thoughts? That sucks. I've never had a single wireless charger stop working. That sucks. I would say return them if you can. If you can't, don't buy that brand anymore. Just don't. It's not worth it. Anyway, but thank you, Kyle, for the super chat. Matthew is now, for a brief second, was the top super chatter of this live stream. Says, also meant to say, I've been watching your channel for a while and love your content. Thank you, Matthew. Very much appreciate it. Aiden Stalling says, least favorite watch band / new watch band ideas. Okay, good question, Aiden. A watch band that looks very nice, but I actually really don't care for, is the Milanese Loop, made by Apple. It's very premiumly built. It's a really cool watch band. However, like I go out with my girlfriend sometimes, and obviously I like to put my arm around her, or we like to hug. the Milanese loop will catch onto her hair and then yank on it. And it'll, even if I like scratch my back or something, the Milanese loop will latch onto my hair and then pull the hair out of my head, and it hurts. And so basically, I had to just stop wearing the Milanese loop. I still have it, but I had to stop wearing it because it just kept pulling out everyone's hair, which was a really weird design. But I mean, I think that's something Apple should fix or somehow. I don't know why it does that. Like the sport loops, the Velcro ones, they don't have that problem, of course, but for some reason, the Milanese loop doesn't. I can't wear it because it just hurts everyone that I hug or put my arm around, which is definitely annoying. But yeah, good question. Zach is now the king of Super Chat for this live stream. He's donated the most. He says, never donated this much, but I really like your videos. My favorite tech channel. Keep up the great work, Drew. Counting down the days till you get your gold play button. Thank you. Very, very big Super Chat, and I appreciate it. Yeah, screen recorder, no need. Yeah. Yeah, big old Super Chat there. Thank you very much. Anthony Fell says, do you have a case on your iPhone 10 or do you rock naked? So basically, here's my rule of thought. If I'm at my apartment or at the office, I'll just use the phone without a case because, there's a case on it. That way, if it does drop, it's more protected. So for instance, right now, I am in my office, so my phone is cased. Besides, this the product red. I'm living it up. You can't cover it up, even if it is for protection. We gotta show off that beautiful red on the back. So yeah, when I'm inside, basically, no case. Go outside, put on a case. It's that simple. Trevor says, Super Chat works on iOS now. Love you, Tailosive. Thank you. Yes, it finally works on iOS, which I'm very happy about because I think most of my audience was watching on iOS beforehand. So it allows you guys to get your comments answered more consistently, and it helps support me, which I'm very grateful for. Thank you. Get one off the wall. That's right. If you guys subscribe, if you didn't know this, if you want more Tailosive content aside from tech, or if you just want tech behind the scenes, please subscribe to Tailosive Talks, which is our vlogging channel, and that's why certain people in the chat know about the phone case wall, which I demoed in my last vlog. I just have a part of the wall dedicated for all my phone cases, and the Patreon giveaway is happening very, very soon. Yes, we're going to be giving away some phone cases this month, close to selecting the winner. All you have to do is donate something. Doesn't matter how much it is, but if you donate anything at all, you're eligible to win the Patreon phone case giveaway for the iPhone 10. And then next month we'll do watch bands. So yeah, next month we'll start donating some watch bands that are Apple official as well. Anyway, Vladan says features you would take from Android and add to iOS. Personally, I like the face chat bubbles, but I've had people disagree with me on that and say no, that's not worth it. So there's not a lot. It seems like Android P just becomes more and more like iOS every time I hear a new update. But what's an Android feature I'd add to iOS? Maybe, okay, here's a common complaint with the iPhone 10 and Face ID is maybe the option to not have to swipe up to go to your home screen. Maybe as soon as the phone unlocks, instantly go to the home screen, because a lot of people seem to watch a lot of people seem to compare the OnePlus 5T and the iPhone 10's face unlock and go, oh my God, the iPhone 10 is so slow. It's not really slow. It's just the animations Apple adds make it seem slower, because once it's unlocked, but then you have to swipe up and then the animation of the apps going in. I think that should stay, but maybe provide an option to get rid of that if people are just the kind of like snappy, I want this to open as fast as possible. That's something I could add. Ethan says, do you have Apple Care? I don't. I've actually never, despite what the meme on Twitter, the Vine I just uploaded shows, I've actually never dropped an iPhone and broke it. I have dropped it on carpet, of course, or lightly, but I've never cracked an iPhone before. Yeah, I consider myself safe with phones. Matthew says, very off-topic question, but I pre-ordered a Tesla Roadster 2.0. Oh my God, Matthew, You must have a good job, dude. Was wondering if you'd like to check it out when it finally gets delivered upon release. I would definitely love to check it out. Matthew, I don't know where you are in the world though, so that may not be possible, but I'm still extremely grateful for you offering. And dang, there's a viewer that's getting the new Roadster, guys. That's intense. But yeah, I don't know where you are in the world, but still, that'd be really, really cool to see if you're near Chico. The Red Mist says, love your videos, man. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Lots of support in Super Chat today. Thank you. Let's see. I am not on the iPhone upgrade program. I'm still part of that market that likes being able to buy something outright, just being able to say, buy it all at once. Now it's mine. I prefer that, but I already know that that's going to go away because it sounds like even Verizon's going to stop selling unlocked iPhones and they're going to make everything on contract. So that's probably going to go away and not going to be possible in the future. Kind of like Apple. Apple originally, you would buy an album on iTunes and then you'd own that album, but now we just have Apple Music and we pay for it by the month and then you have all the music. So that's likely what will happen in the future. But yeah, I'm for now, if I can buy a phone outright, I will. I prefer that. I prefer owning things outright and just saying, there, it's mine. Camilla Parker super chatted. No comment on it, but thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, I saw Marquez just won Creator of the Decade. Congrats to Marquez. Maybe we should do another collaboration. We're coming up on a year later. Grady says, the Apple employee who said the Mac Pro was coming in 2019 was my dad. I was really excited for it to come this fall. I'm sorry, Grady. Yeah. I personally just think that the new Mac Pro is going to be awkward in the Mac lineup, though, because before, the purpose of the Mac Pro was just to be the ideal professional workstation. So it had way better specs than the iMac of the time, always. Usually, as long as there was a Mac Pro, that one was the most expensive, but it had all the best specs compared to the lower priced iMac. But now we've gotten to a point where there's the regular iMacs and an iMac Pro, which now has better specs than the current Mac Pro, which I don't believe should still be sold. It's too outdated. It should at least be heavily discounted or just updated or gone. I don't know why they're still selling the trash can Mac Pro. It doesn't even have Thunderbolt 3. But yeah, now that the new Tower Mac Pro will be competing with the iMac Pro, things are going to be kind of weird. So yeah, I'm not really sure how that's going to work. Matthew says, I'm in Chicago, but moving to Malibu very soon. Oh, that's going to be cool. Well, yeah. Best way to contact me is either Twitter or via here on Super Chat. Obviously, that Super Chat doesn't stop you from commenting. So yeah, when you're out in Malibu and you're willing to take a bit of a road trip, let me know. That would be really cool. How well do you know Sam from iUpdate OS? So basically, here's what happened. Sam and I contacted each other via Twitter and said, hey, you're a cool channel. We should collaborate. And he said, yeah. So we decided we wanted to record a podcast together for the Tailosive Tech podcast. So we sat down and I recorded my side of the conversation and then we wrapped everything up. It was about a 90-minute podcast. Then I said, okay, you can send me your side of the audio over Google Drive. And he said, oh, you wanted me to record my side, didn't you? And I was like, oh, no. So sadly, but not too sadly, we just got to have a 90-minute conversation where we got to know each other better because before that podcast, we had never spoken really other than like 5 messages on Twitter, the DMs. But we got to know each other really good during that 90-minute podcast, and we're planning on sometime this week re-recording that podcast because we had some interesting dialogue there. What's interesting though is iUpdate OS and I are so similar in tastes and in opinions. We're so we're so similar in that regard. So it's kind of difficult to find things we disagree on. I think he's a lot less biased than I am, but we talked about in that podcast how he kind of wants to go full bias sometimes when he watches my videos. It kind of inspires him, but I also have mad respect for him and what he does. He follows iOS updates a lot more thoroughly like a hawk more like everything Apple Pro than I do, which I am really grateful we have YouTubers that do that. But yeah, we had a big long conversation that won't ever be heard unless you want to just hear my side of it, which would be kind of boring. Why are Apple saying iTunes will be discontinued? Why are people saying iTunes will be discontinued? Said Unstoppable. Thank you for the super chat. Maybe because Apple Music's just getting too popular, and that's what people are leaning towards. I think as long as if you don't spend more than, I don't think it's going to get discontinued. It's probably just going to get less and less support because Apple has to focus more on being a services company, as in Apple Music. But yeah, I don't think it'll be complete. I don't think it'll ever completely go away. But if it does, I'm sure that'll be one of those things that a few people are upset about. But apparently, based on what Truth of Tech is saying, Apple Music is now dominating. So many people are just going with that it might just make the most sense. I'm not claiming the Tailosive network is 4K at 60. That's not true at all. The tech videos are 4K at 60, but the live stream, I don't want to buy a $200 4K webcam. And on top of that, most of the people watching this live stream can't watch it in 4K or even 1080 at that regard anyway. But the vlogs on Tailosive Talks, those are 1080 at 60. Yeah. If iTunes is discontinued, what will happen to the movies and TV shows I bought with it before? Exactly. Yeah, I don't know how they would handle that whole side of the market. So yeah, I don't think iTunes is ever going to just go away completely, obviously, because they're still giving it support. It might be rebranded as more of a movie and TV show rental service, and the music side of it will kind of go away, be more like iMovies and not iTunes. James said, "Remember when you had to pour water on your head for money?" I do. That was more just for fun. And thank you for super chatting, by the way, with your Thanos profile picture. That's hilarious. But yeah, I remember because I was like, we really need to save up and be able to get an office space back then. So yeah, I used to pour water on my head for super chat. Why aren't the vlogs in 4K at 60? Actually, I want them to be 4K at 60, but because my editor edits them in Adobe Premiere, he can't. So I have to do them at 1080 at 60. And I don't make any money on the vlogs. I actually lose money on the vlogs because when we got the Blackmagic camera, my editor, I couldn't send the footage to my editor anymore because the footage files were way too big and our internet can't support that. So I had to start editing the tech videos again. I didn't want to fire Nathan, so instead I just said, okay, I'll send you vlog footage and you can edit vlogs. So I'm still paying him for those vlogs, but they don't entirely make all their money back. So I just did it more so that Nathan could still have an income because he's got bills to pay and he has to be able to afford things. And on top of that, I wanted more consistent content on that channel anyway. So yeah, so they're 1080 at 60 because he edits in Premiere on his PC. But if he were to switch over to Final Cut on a Mac, then he would be able to edit them in 4K at 60. But he hasn't. So CM Tech says, have you considered selling your original black Apple Watch band? I wanted to buy a replacement, but the lady at the Apple store told me they don't sell them. Really? Wait, original black Apple Watch band. Do you mean the sport one? They don't sell that? Is that true? Drago says, next step after USB-C. I think the point is USB-C is the last port. If there is going to be an update, it would be in the same shape. The stainless one. Really? You have to buy a whole... Are you talking about the stainless steel sport loop? No, you're talking about the stainless steel sport band. Like I thought they do sell the black Apple Watch band. Let me look real quick. Bands. I thought that's one of the... I believe it has a stainless... Oh, okay. So you're referring to the one with the button that's stainless steel. Would you be interested in buying that, CM Tech? If you are, I'd gladly sell it to you. I don't know what that's worth, but make me an offer. You might be able to convince me. They don't come with the stainless button. Okay, so the black sport band you can buy is It's an aluminum button, I'm guessing. Not sure if that, yeah, on the back it looks like an aluminum button. What's your subscriber goal for this year? Well, supposedly, if we check Social Blade, sometime this summer we're going to hit 100,000, which would be really cool. Aluminium button, right? Drew, are you a developer? Would you consider becoming one for exclusives? I have the developer profile so I can get the latest version of iOS, but I don't develop apps. What are the specs and setup of your gaming PC? Apparently they're not good. Everyone hates the PC I got, so that's probably why I don't talk about it too much. But you can get all the specs over on Tailosive Gaming, which is another channel. If you want more live streams and you want more audience reactions, that's a good place to check it out. Check that out there. Why have a 6-core iPad with a 2-core MacBook Pro? I don't know. They're different. Different cores for different reasons. They run different operating systems. So why do you have so many channels? Because I have thoughts on lots of different things, and I figured why limit that to just one channel? I don't want to talk about tech all the time. I like mixing it up. Certain MacBook Pros have 4 cores, but yeah, baseline has 2 cores. Yeah, and it's rumored that maybe in June we'll get the quad-core CPUs on the 13-inch MacBook Pro. That's definitely possible. For Series 4. On displays, they kind of bug me because I'm always looking at it like turn off, turn off, turn off. But for the most part, no. Or if there was an option to turn off the always on display, I would. Maybe if it was something minimal like the dots in everything Apple Pros video, like on your watch. But consider that the watch is not an always on display. There's a red dot at the top when there's a notification, but it's not like the dot's there when the screen's off, unless you're talking about that red dot. But I'm not a fan of it. When do you think Apple will stop putting out updates? You guys hear this, you'll probably have an answer for it. What we can see, it supports all the way. Wow, it supports the Mini 2 and the iPad Air. Wow. So probably for a couple more years then. I thought the Air 2 was the latest, the oldest you could go and get iOS 11, but I guess not. Mini 2 is the oldest. That's pretty good. So I'd say Air 2 will probably get iOS updates for another 2 years and then no more. I saw that question, could iPads become wireless chargers themselves? That's a really interesting idea. I'm not sure if it would work just because of the way a wireless charger has to work in order. Most wireless chargers, especially fast ones, have to have space in them because they get really, really hot. So if you were to make the back of an iPad like a wireless charger, it would be really, really hot and probably not enough battery in the iPad itself to really provide a charge to other devices. So yes, the top of the HomePod would be a perfect place for a wireless charger. I wish they would do that. That'd be neat. Wouldn't that be cool if that's how you paired your phone with it? You just dropped it on the top and it started charging and it paired at the same time. That would be neat. But yeah, probably won't happen, but definitely should happen. Worth it to upgrade to an iPhone 5S to a 7 Plus right now, or should I wait till the new ones drop? Yeah, you're getting kind of late in the game. So unless you find a 7 Plus for like a really good deal, I would say probably pass on it. Probably wait till the new iPhones come out because then the 8 will get really cheap, or the 7 Plus will probably still be sold and be even cheaper than it is now. So yeah, I would say either wait unless you find a used one for really, really good deals. Like you find a 7 Plus for like 400, 350 on Facebook or on eBay or something. That would be like, okay, go for it. Yeah, check that out. Check that one out. How do you think Apple will handle the camera on the new iPhone? I'm imagining this year's iPhone camera won't be too different. Something we might see happen is what's already happened on the Pixel 2, which is the artificial intelligent bokeh effects, because even Instagram can figure that out. So I assume Apple will be able to figure that out on single lens phones, so you'll be able to have portrait. That could happen, or they might just want that to be an exclusive feature to the Plus models, the more expensive ones, so they might not add that. But camera-wise, I imagine not too much will change. Maybe a megapixel is a little bit higher, maybe dynamic range, but for the most part, I don't think cameras will change too much. It's rumored that next year, there might be a triple camera setup, in which case something will definitely change. I'm not sure what that third camera will be doing, but it could be doing what the Huawei one does with the monochrome sensor. I'm not sure. I have I have Apple TV 4th gen. Should I upgrade to the 4K? If you have a 4K TV and you play Minecraft on your Apple TV, then I would say it's likely worth it. Try to sell your old one and get the new one because it's only $30 more. But if you're just watching content on a 1080p TV, no, don't bother with the 4K one. It doesn't change very much at all. What is nice with the A10X chip on the 4K Apple TV is that when you play games on it, there's significantly less frame drops. If you play a lot of games, like with a SteelSeries controller on the Apple TV, the 4th gen, you'll notice a lot of frame droppage. But if you get the 4K version, there's hardly any frames dropped, which is really cool. Like Minecraft's the prime example. A very popular game that a lot of people may play on their Apple TV. A quick question, Tailosive Tech. Why is it that even though the iPhone 10 is thicker than the S8 Plus, still doesn't have a bigger battery? Maybe because they didn't want it to explode? No, probably because they knew they could get a decent battery life out of it with the A11 Bionic chip, which the Samsung one might last longer, but the difference is the S8 Plus battery drains even when the phone's not on a lot faster, and the A11 Bionic still has really, really good standby time, which means that when your phone's not on, you almost lose just asleep, not like powered off, but just asleep. The display's not on, it'll use almost zero power. It's extremely good at being low power. So they probably figured if we put a bigger battery in there, it's going to cost more, or they take the chance of making it unsafe. So Apple probably plays things a little bit more on the safe side. What do you think the limit will be for the number of cameras on the back of the smartphones? Will there ever be a smartphone with a quad camera setup? Never say never. So it's probably going to happen in the next couple of years. I could definitely see that article. 4 cameras on the back of this phone. What would they do, though? That's the better question. There might be one that does the LG route where they have ultra wide angle, mid angle, and telephoto angle, and then monochrome. So yeah, kind of the ideas of where they could go with that are kind of endless. They could have a ultra wide monochrome and an ultra wide color, and a mid color and a mid monochrome, and then a telephoto monochrome and a telephoto color. Then you'd have 6, but after that, I don't know. I can't really think of much unless some gimmick on the next generation of phones is that it can zoom in not even 2 times, but 4 times as far. This is like a telescope camera. But yeah, for the most part, I would say 4 to 6 is all possibly I could think of. After 2, 3 lenses, you could easily have 3D options and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm actually planning on selling my MacBook Pro. For those of you joining in, if you're interested, contact me on Twitter. I'm asking for 1,500 of it, and of course, that would include a personal letter from me thanking you. So that's what I'm asking. If you're interested, Twitter's the place for it. Will you write a book about your journey starting and growing Tailosive? Probably not a book, but I might make a video about it because I sadly don't read too much. It's more of a time thing it's not that I'm not interested in books. It's just they require a lot of your time, which I don't have a ton of. And I probably wouldn't find the time to write a book myself, but I would likely make a video on it or a documentary on it someday. Who knows? Draw My Life 100K special. I don't know. I think that's still too early because life is still getting interesting. I've only been doing this full time for not even a year yet. I quit my job less than a year ago. So I would not sign the MacBook Pro. That would ruin it. And I have an ugly signature, but I'd write a nice letter. Not a fan of jailbreaking. I knew that question would come up, but yeah, if you're new here, I don't like jailbreaking. And let's stop the questions on jailbreak there, please. Why would you buy an Apple TV for games? Well, no one buys an Apple TV for games. It's just you buy it for the AirPlay support and to watch movies on. And if you also want to play games on it, you also have that option. Keep up the great work. Very happy for you and your channel's growth over the years. Cheers. Thank you, Robert Lee. Appreciate it very much. So who was the winner? Looks like their name's almost gone. So the winner of today's live stream in terms of biggest super chat goes to Zach. Let me see if I can pronounce your last name correctly. Levesque. One of those. I apologize if I didn't get it right, but thank you very much for the biggest super chat of today. I don't know why they don't put Fortnite on the Apple TV. They definitely could. They put it on devices with slower CPUs running iOS, so why can't they put it on? It would actually run better on the Apple TV because you'd have a controller opposed to touch controls, which suck. And it has the A10X chip, so yeah. I don't like the Hermes watch or Hermes, or I don't know how to pronounce it. It's weird, but I think it's too expensive, and I don't get why it's that expensive. I want it on the Switch first. Well, that sucks because Nintendo is a weird company. I don't like Nintendo probably because I didn't have a childhood filled with Nintendo. I just found out like the other day, my girlfriend and I were talking, and she was like, I used to have a DS, and I found it the other day, and I was trying to see if there were some games on it because I used to love playing on my Game Boy and my DS. And I was like, okay, so you have like there's a childhood reminiscence there with Nintendo. A lot of people played Nintendo consoles and Nintendo games when they were younger. And that's probably, I think, what makes them a fan of it now is just nostalgia, because that's all that Nintendo seems to release is different versions of the same characters. It's still releasing Mario, still releasing Zelda. It's just more and more of the same stuff, which if you're a fan of Nintendo, then yeah, the Switch is great. But if you don't like those games, it's not interesting. It's not a good, I don't think you would buy a Switch unless you love Zelda and you love Super Mario. If you don't like those stuff, you're not going to like the Switch, because I don't think the Switch is worth it for the hardware. I don't get it. I'm not a console guy, to be fair, so I'm not a fan of Xbox or PlayStation either. If I do game, it's on a PC. So don't think it's just me hating Nintendo. It's just me not liking, I don't know. It's just a texture. It's just a category of gaming that I'm not really into. That just is somebody I don't know why do you like that? It's a guy who talks in a high pitched voice, and he's been doing it for nearly 40 years now. And why is that fun? I don't know. I don't know why that's fun. They race and they throw bananas in the street, and then people slip on them. Yeah! I don't know. I'm not into it, but I'm not much of a gamer in the first place. But if I do game, I'm going for the game that looks the best and runs the best, in which case what Nintendo can't offer me is the fact that I can play Doom at 144 hertz on my gaming monitor at 2K resolution, and that looks and sounds awesome. Whereas if I play Breath of the Wild on the Switch, doesn't look too great, doesn't sound too great. So not a fan. It's not. There's no reputation or nostalgia for me there. Ian super chatted and says, "Do you know Dewey?" Hilarious, but kind of. Even with good internet, it doesn't run super well. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like Nintendo is kind of annoyingly the Apple of the gaming community, except worse because they make you charge for the games. Like most consoles you can buy for like $200 and get a game bundled with it. Whereas, I wouldn't say Zelda necessarily looks better than Fortnite if you consider the fact that it has to run it, at least when it's on the Switch itself. I've used a Switch. Don't act like I haven't. I've played on them, and I'm not a fan. But for one, it's not running at 2K. Even docked to the TV, it's not running at 2K, and it's definitely not running at 60 FPS. It's running at like 30 to 48, whereas Fortnite can run at 2K at over 60 FPS on a PC, and it does look pretty good. And the game is free. It's not a $60 Zelda game. So I don't know. I think consoles are stupid. What cell carrier do you use? History on that. I've always used Verizon, but when you live up in the Chico, Oroville area, you don't really have a choice. In big cities, maybe you have T-Mobile and Sprint you can resort to, but up here, at least in the foothills and in Chico, all those smaller services like Cricket or Sprint and T-Mobile, they don't cover like anything. So that's why we use Verizon, is because they have actual coverage up here. You don't have that much of a choice. In a city, sure, you can use all 4 of those different carriers, but up here, basically, if you don't have Verizon, your service is going to suck. They're very expensive. I wouldn't say they're the best. All carriers suck, but in their own way. Verizon's extremely expensive, but if you want service, you just got to pay it. Anyway, though, we've reached our hour here, so thank you guys for all the super chats today, all the questions. Very, very much appreciate it. We're gonna get going into Ask Tailosive. I gotta film that later this evening, and then probably upload it later tonight or in the morning, early morning. So thank you guys for your questions. And if you want more, if you feel like your question's not getting answered, or if you just want more Tailosive content in general, please check out Tailosive Talks, the vlogging channel. We're going to be getting back into daily vlogs, hopefully, and also Tailosive Gaming, which is where we do live streams, but we talk about whatever we want on there. So subscribe to both. Check them out. All the other Tailosive channels as well. Anyway, this is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you in the next one. Have a great evening.